Okay, so I want to start in controlled efficiency mode. That's what the C stands for. As you notice, we're taking off in second gear, and the green eco light just got illuminated, which means our stop-start mode is active. So this is huge for a car that has the potential to have poor MPG. One of the defining features of controlled efficiency is that it will shift through the gears as fast as possible in order to have the highest gear and subsequently lowest RPM. If you read the owner's manual, on a flat surface, it will get into 7th gear as early as 37 miles per hour, which is quite amazing. So now, as you can see, the RPMs really didn't even go above 1.5 thousand RPM, which is really amazing. So hopefully this light is still red when we get up to it, and you will see that the stop-start mode activates. So now this light may or may not actually turn green right now, but let's just do this so you can get a little idea. I'm gonna have to mute that. So I will just do this for a brief moment. Okay, just so you could see the start-stop mode work. So that's really the hallmark of controlled efficiency mode, is that it shifts rapidly into the next gear to avoid, burning more gas at higher RPMs. And once it gets to a sufficient speed, it will shift into the highest gear possible. Pair that with stop-start mode, and you can really get some excellent miles per gallon. Now, the reason why a lot of people don't like that is because they think it wears out the starter more. Now, Mercedes has engineered the starter to handle 8 times the amount of starts as per a normal starter. But what I do, just to make sure I still have the longevity, is that if I know it's going to be a very, very short, like sub 10-second stop, all I have to do is just quickly press this button and stop-start mode will turn off. But if I know I'm going to be at a longer traffic light or something like that, I'll make sure it's enabled, because I don't want to idle for a minute when I could have my car off saving gas. Now, that's something that I really like. So you hear one of the safety features, which is the lane departure, which you heard. There it goes. It's vibrating the steering wheel. So since we're coming up to this nice part, let's get out of comfort and we'll go into sport mode. So sport mode will default start in first gear, and will give you a little more RPM with each gear shift, as you can hear. Okay, now this is very, very light throttle, and it will also downshift a little bit faster if you need to pass somebody on the highway, like we will right now. So it could have shifted down to second gear, but since we were in sport and not sport plus, it gave me what it thought would be enough power to pass somebody, and it was. Sport, I don't use often. It is a good bridge between controlled efficiency and sport plus. But it's sort of not enough of either, so that's why I often either go Sport Plus or controlled efficiency. So let's go into Sport Plus. Sport Plus will downshift a lot more aggressively, as you can hear. And it will give you the lowest gear possible at all times. If you hear some rattling, it's just one of my exhaust hangers are loose, but I'm getting that taken care of later. So you could also see Sport Plus really does not upshift, because it wants you to be ready for whenever you'll encounter the next competition. So it'll eventually upshift, but it'll hang in usually a gear lower than Sport, and 2 gears lower than controlled efficiency. So controlled efficiency, I'd usually be in 7th at this speed. Sport, I'd be in 6th. But Sport Plus, it'll give you an extra, gear down, so that in case you have to accelerate quickly, you are ready. So here's a medium acceleration. And it's great. I actually like it a lot around town when I'm feeling more burning of fuel that I want to do. That was a terrible sentence, but it really keeps you ready. And what you don't have in Sport Plus, which you get in manual, is the dreaded shift lag that everybody can't stand. Now, this is the MCT transmission, but the full name is the 7G MC3. I'm Jamaican, with the MCT, excuse me. So it's the same as the 7G automatic, the 722.9, but instead of a torque converter, it has 2 clutches, which are wet and increase the shift speed. So it's not a true dual clutch like the AMG GTS has, for example. So there is a little delay when you press the paddle, but the shifts themselves are fantastic. As you can see. So we'll make a little right turn here. So when you actually get the full boost, when traction control is not intervening, this car flies, to say the least. And the downshifts are really fantastic. So since there's so much noise deadening, it's not too loud from the inside. Even though this has a full exhaust, you could sort of hear the shift crunch. And you get some nice turbo sounds. But it's not loud, so it doesn't take away from the, it's not loud on the inside at all, so it doesn't take away from the elegance of the E-Class, which is the main reason why I upgraded to this over the C-Class, because it's a much nicer cabin to spend your time in if you're going to be commuting longer distances, which I will be. So if we just hop back the highway over here one more time, just to see if you could see how the shift lag works, which I was talking about. But it's fast. You know, this car moves more than enough speed to get you to where you need to go. So I just want to show you the S Plus downshift mode really quickly. So if we just slow down a little bit, just to show you guys. Now, as per the owner's manual, Sport Plus shifts 30% faster than Sport. Which is quite incredible, if you ask me. We'll go down a little bit further. So you can really hear when traction control backs off a little bit, you could hear those intakes spooling, the intake noise from the turbos, I should say. But you hear that full spool. And you get a really, really nice upshift sound and downshift, quite frankly. Okay, so let's go back to controlled efficiency here. You'll see immediately in 7th gear. So let me show you some of the safety features that this car has that the C63 did not have. So if we go over to this mode, you'll see 3 options here. One is attention assist, which is that cup of coffee. The car will study your driving patterns, and if it feels like you're deviating from baseline, it will alert you to pull over, get some coffee, or get some rest, something of the like. Blind spot assistance, I will show you, which is, it's really good for an older car. So we could see a Buick is entering. I want to merge, and it will beep and tell me not to merge. There's a good blind spot assistance. For a 2012 is quite good. Then you have the lane keep assist, which I really like. The steering wheel will vibrate quite viciously, and it will notify you when you start to veer into another lane. And it's very, very helpful, and it's a good safety feature that, like I said, that all of these that my C63 rather did not have. So in terms of interior features, it's tough to see during the day. but you have some different options for your lights. So you have the daylights, which are the day headlights. You have adaptive high beams, which I use all the time at night. You just flip the switch forward, and whenever it thinks it could give you high beams, it will. You have the interior ambient light, which I also love. You get a nice glow under the dash. See, there's that lane keep assist. And you get a nice glow under the door liner, so to speak. You get surround lighting, which is very nice at night. Light delay, which means it sort of comes on, the interior lights come on gradually as the sun sets to sort of mimic the natural rhythm of the sun and the moon. Instrument cluster, we could put it into kph, which is very nice. So you get your fuel in the units of liters per 100 kilometers. And of course, you'll get your range in kilometers, and you will get your speed in kilometers per hour. Which is pretty cool if I happen to drive north into Canada or something of the like, or if you want to fool people and make them think your car is faster than it really is. The speed will climb very quickly. Now, dynamically, I've done a little bit of dynamic driving in this car, no track yet, but one thing that is relatively prominent is the brake fade. That was a nice downshift, because you forget how heavy this car is, you know, pushing 4,300 pounds, and the speeds that you achieve are significantly higher, so you forget how heavy it is and how much stress it has on the brakes doing those really high speed stops. But we'll go through the little segment that I like over there. Nothing really too crazy, but just to get an idea of how this car is. So I'm gonna shut up right now. So there's so much torque that you just want to put it in third, actually. So dynamically, for a bigger car, it's an absolute riot to drive. The steering in Mercedes, this is my opinion, everybody's gonna kill me for having this opinion, the steering in Mercedes is superior to BMW. I should say AMG to M. It is phenomenal. In this car, it was even more phenomenal in the C63. And I can't speak highly enough about this car. It is phenomenal, to say the least. I have no complaints. None. Zero. It's phenomenal. The turn-in is so good. The steering feel is so good. The brake feel is... I can't speak enough about how good this car is to drive dynamically for an enormous car. Now, it doesn't sound as good, in my opinion, as the E63, but for a turbo car, it sounds ridiculously good. Now, this does not have the fake sound that the F10 M5 has from the cabin. There's no augmented sound, because nothing needs to be augmented, because it sounds so good. Now, you get a lot of turbo sound with these black boost intakes, but I love it. And this transmission is really excellent. I noticed maybe it thinks it knows that we're talking about it, but the paddle delay is really not too bad. It's a little bit more pronounced on the upshifts than the downshifts. But this is fine. This is fine, folks. Try opening the windows a little bit just to get a little more exhaust here. So we got a little bit of a stop start here. I just want to show you how this works in totality. It's excellent. You get a nice stop sequence, and this is, you know, at least 10 seconds, so you're saving some fuel here. And the starter has been engineered from Mercedes to handle it, and it takes off no problem. And then when you're sick of that, you just put it back into manual mode or whatever mode you like. I'm letting you go. Go ahead. Go ahead. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm gonna try and make more longer form content, you know, maybe once a week. I'm gonna be starting a very busy time of my life. And I'll be 100% honest with you, it's tough spending this much in gas and tires and such to, you know, get a few cents of ad revenue on these videos, but I enjoy making them, so I'm gonna keep making them. And thank